Well, maybe we got to restart that timer.
I don't know. I see us.
For some reason, the board wasn't.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender.
We're having a little flashback here, aren't we?
No,
I have to sing. I'm not.
no
gonna
flashing
sing.
on. No
I'm not.
flashing.
No, we're not going to do that. You don't do that either.
No. Scare a lot of people. Lisa Dunn is with us. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you back with us.
Glad to be here.
And let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money. I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. I think it's National Strawberry Parfait Day. So, being that I neglected to send a question of the day, we'll do it on the fly. What is your favorite parfait? Do you like parfaits? What's your favorite parfait?
What's even in a parfait?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Oh, good.
Strawberry parfait. It looks to me like it's whipped cream and strawberries and some granola.
Granola in a parfait.
Yeah, it looks like it's a little granola on the bottom there.
I think they're just using stock photos.
The traditional parfait is a dessert of ice cream or frozen custard layered with fruit, whipped cream, and a tall stemmed glass.
There is no granola involved.
No granola. Okay, it's just I can't see right there, but that looks like granola to me on the bottom of the picture.
Too. Somebody should have done a better job on National Strawberry Parfait Day.
Exactly. So. But how can you go wrong if you've got ice cream and you've got whipped cream and you've got strawberries?
I don't want to know what you did last weekend.
There we go. Exactly. That one might cause a little bit of trouble right there.
I'm going to be shown the door shortly, I'm sure.
No, not at all. Let's take a look and see what the markets are doing. Do we want to see what the markets are doing today? Well, we've got the Dow Jones Industrial Average. My screen just went a little bit too fast. Kirsten, might be an operator error right here. Dow Jones down 309 points. The S&P 500 is down 15. The NASDAQ is down 210. Why? Well, it looks like, this is an interesting scenario because the Dow is down dramatically because of two main stocks. And they both deal in the very similar industries. You've got Home Depot and Boeing. Well, Home Depot sells doors and Boeing needs some that'll stay in place. I just throw that out there. I mean, think about it. I mean, it's true, right? I mean, I'm sure that Boeing doesn't want us to say those things, but so there's your big reasons for the market, the drop there. The S&P 500 is down 15. The NASDAQ is up 207. Oil down 57 cents a barrel. And yes, we are still getting the shaft here in Southern California, averaging $4.81 per gallon. $4.81 is our average right here in the state of confusion.
Man, I'm getting
Two-
premium awful cheap.
two-
Why has Orange County got cheap premium gas?
Well, something we figured this out.
You did, huh?
Yeah, because the reason we learned this is I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Well, I didn't say anything there, Ron.
Most people know that.
Okay.
So we looked at and it was all because of Josh is how we found this out. So Josh is out there in Nevada, and Nevada's prices are $4.04. Now I just happened to be going to Nevada for a conference, and I stopped at State Line. I figured, go stop at State Line. You're gonna get good, inexpensive gas because you don't have to pay for all the taxes and fees that we have in California. And the gas there at the time was about $6.50 a gallon at State Line, the other side of in Nevada. And I drove into Vegas because I said, something's got to be wrong here. And I drove into Vegas and found out, and I looked at our board that our numbers come from AAA. I don't go out there and survey the gas stations. And I looked and it said something, and if we were to use hypothetically today's number, 405 is what they're paying in Nevada, is the average. Well, I went to there's a Costco station right as you go into Vegas. And they were 50 cents a gallon below what it showed as the statewide average, 404. So right now it was about 360. I would say 360 a gallon. Josh, where are you at now? About 360 still? Yeah, so he's like 360. So they're using, some of the outlying areas when they put in the averages. So here in Orange County, we're going to be a bit cheaper. I think I paid like $3.90 or $4 something at Costco last week for premium.
Yeah.
So now if you want gas inexpensive, and I'm not going to say anything negative. Well, maybe I will.
Oh, you always do.
Absolutely. So you got to go to Mississippi. Now, I don't know why we'd go to Mississippi.
You know what? I don't need gas that bad.
Exactly.
No.
Well, as my grandson puts it, we can go to Taco Bell. $2.92 a gallon of gasoline. Now, okay, Josh, Josh has got little ones. You'll love this, Josh. So, the fun of being a grandparent. So I taught my grandson, he came over, has a little bit of gas. And I said, Grayson, here's the issue. Go over to Daddy and say, Daddy, excuse me, ripped one. And he did.
This show is devolving
Devolving.
really quickly.
Right? No, we're always about here. There's nothing new. I mean,
what it is.
Lisa, it's been a while since you've been on.
I know it has been, hasn't it? Okay.
So now his commentary is, excuse me, ripped one. And then he adds to it, went to Taco Bell. So obviously Taco Bell is not a sponsor. They probably would not like our broadcasts.
Probably not.
But that is the story. So gasoline, back to where were we? I think I was talking about gasoline prices. $4.81 is the average for California. $3.44 is the national average. Hawaii is $4.70 because they produce so much gasoline over there. And Mississippi is $2.92. So we just throw all those numbers out and we just kind of play with those. Let's see what else is going on in the world. Another one, I saw this, another part of our great data that we get from the government. So we talked yesterday about part of the reason why we're seeing so much in the way of a misstatement of numbers. I'm not going to say fabricated numbers. Misstatement of numbers. So the Treasury Department comes out and says that it was that they were going to, in February, $1.6 trillion deficit this year. And in June, they come out and say, we missed it by about $400 billion. It's going to be $2 trillion, not 1.6. We know that 170 million of it is based on the student loan forgiveness, also known as transferring somebody's student loans to the rest of us. But it's a government issue. Now we see that, I don't know how this one works. They're going to use DHS for $60 million or $60 billion, one of those. I mean, it's government, so billions, millions, it doesn't matter. $60 billion of student loan forgiveness through DHS. And Antony Blinken, did you see him in the news yesterday? They're going to give $110 million to Haiti. Now, what are you expecting out of Haiti? I mean, it's one of the most corrupt, dangerous governments in the world. What are we giving them money for? What are we getting for taxpayer dollars in Haiti? I just throw that out there for you. Maybe if we worked on our own deficit, so our kids don't have to pay quite as much in this deficit spending, and maybe our taxes don't go up so much. I'll just throw that out there also. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, August 17th, what will be happening? We'll talk about it, how long it will take to sell my house. Well, if it's on TV, it might be better, and we put them all on TV. The benefits of moving your credit card dates and how to do it. And yes, I do have another Borrow Smart opportunity, 1.898 effective APR on a 30-year loan. Yes, I did just do that one yesterday. 1.898 effective APR. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OB, MMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They do not tell us points paid, points received, or APR. They tell us the number you put in your mortgage calculator if you want to figure out what the principal and interest payment is on a home loan. And don't forget, if you don't have that mortgage calculator, ronismylender.com, ronismylender.com will give you the calculator for free. Great mobile app. Just got to ask for it. Go right there. 30-year conforming loans, 6.853. Those were up just a smidge yesterday. 30-year jumbo loans, 7.129. Those were down yesterday. 30-year FHA loans, pretty flat yesterday, 6.679. 30-year USDA loans. Rural areas, generally no down payment, 6.76. That was down yesterday. And what I used to call the best loan on the market, because it's second best now, the VA loan. It is still for our favorite group of people. And yes, we are once again the number one team, mortgage team for Homes for Heroes in the United States. The 30-year VA loan, 6.514. Great loan for our veterans, unless we can put you into the Home Select product, which is far better if you qualify for it. Let's take a look and see what's going on today in these markets. We've got the S&P 500, if I can get my screen to come up here, is up 12.64. 10-year Treasury up 1 basis point, which basically means flat. The mortgage bond is down 4 basis points, which is pretty flat as well. Really means that there's no changes. Remember, the rate goes in the exact opposite direction of the bond. So when the bond is down, the rate is up. But it's like a 12% difference. So when the bond goes down 4 basis points, the rate's moving less than 1 basis point. Very, very minimal move. What's driving all this and to do nothing? Well, we're waiting until the end of this week. We're going to get the PCE numbers the end of this week, and we're going to get the employment numbers next week. And then once again, we've got Federal Reserve people speaking. And you know my feeling about the Federal Reserve and the majority of them, because
Such an idiot.
Yeah, they're all
Such an
they're
idiot.
all about the same. So this time we get who do we get? Mary Daly. So she is a voting member. Finally, somebody said inflation is not the only risk we face. Getting near to where a point that benign outcome could be less likely. What the heck does that mean? Well, she's basically saying that the soft landing they've been talking about in the recession world, and not going to be very likely because they're going to overdo it once again. Michelle Bowman. So she's also a voting member. Ready for more hikes. Rate hikes from Michelle Bowman. The labor market is tight. I wonder what planet she lives on. Elevated wage growth. And not only me, I'm not the only one saying these things, but I'm right. Jim Cramer came out and said the same thing. And you know, I'm not a big fan of CNBC, but, you know, you got to give the guy credit. I don't know what data they're looking at. Jim Cramer said that. We don't have wage inflation. We have rent inflation. And again, not that I shy away from politics on Ron Siegel Radio, but Cramer's comment was, and he's right, no one's talking about this. So we've let in millions and millions and millions of illegal aliens, right? Where are they living? So if you've got more demand than supply, and we don't have a lot of supply coming to market, we've got 10 million people coming into the country in the last 3 years. Whether you agree with it or not, they're here. And most of them want a roof over their head. They're tired of having that Coleman tent. So it's going to have rent inflation is going to continue to grow. Just throw that out there for you. That's going to hurt some of these other numbers that we're looking at. But home prices, we got Case-Shiller Home Price Index this morning. It's the gold standard for appreciation, showed that home prices rose 0.3% in April, rising to another all-time high. Now, this is the thing I always love about these numbers. The 0.3% gain is seasonally adjusted, which means they get to make a bogus number. Takes into account the typically stronger appreciation seen during this time of the year, which I guess we're not smart enough to know that the numbers are stronger at this time of year and just tell us what the real number is. If we didn't look at the seasonal adjustment, property values up 1.2% in the month alone. Prices are now up 6.3% year over year, down from 6.5% in the previous report. Another strong report showing that buying a home still proves to be one of the best investments. FHFA House Price Index. That's the Federal Housing Finance Agency released their house price index, which measures home price appreciation on single-family homes with conforming loan amounts. Different than Case-Shiller, it does not include cash buyers or jumbo loans. FHFA reported that home prices rose 0.2% in April and are up 6.3% year over year, down from 6.7% in the prior year. Anybody that says that they're going to wait for the housing crash is going to be waiting a very long time. My opinion, and I'm right. That is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So speaking of being right, we've got somebody that knows a whole lot about real estate, a whole lot about what's going on in all these fancy organizations, because she's a member, a board member, a officer, a mucky muck, they call it, in all these different
I'm
organizations.
I'm a
big,
local, state, and national mucky muck.
Exactly. See that?
Yes.
So we got royalty on Ron Siegel Radio.
I don't know about that.
Lisa Dunn is with us. I guess you've been out running around all over the world to all these different organizations.
And I sell houses. And
you sell houses.
And, I run a brokerage with my business partner, who also is involved in all this crazy stuff like I am. But, the cool thing
Anything happened other than Halloween this last year?
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, we celebrated my birthday by having the NAR settlement come out that day. And I was on my way to jump out of a plane.
With or without a parachute?
Yeah, I was debating whether I needed the parachute after the news came out.
I would imagine.
Yeah, it was some big stuff. And it's really kind of amazing what one class action lawyer with 2 homeowners to sign on, the havoc that they can wreak in an industry. Well, I believe he's out buying his 3rd jet, and all of the class action plaintiffs that were homeowners that claim that they lost tens of thousands of dollars due to the supposed misdeeds of realtors. They're going to each get $60.
Oh, it's gone up again.
I think so.
Last number I heard was 13. So
you know what? 1360. Don't spend it all in one place. I don't think that's going to be your down payment for your next house.
I don't think you can even go to McDonald's and get a Happy Meal anymore for that.
No, you can't. So, we've had a lot of stuff.
Now, wait a second. I'm not a realtor, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a real estate license,
Mhm.
and I'm not qualified to use it. Well, of course, then most real estate agents aren't either.
I'm not going to argue that. And the bulk of the real estate agents out there don't do any business.
Right.
About 50%, 55% of the realtors don't do any business. That's not talking about licensees.
Which is, I'm not a realtor, I'm a licensee.
Yeah, and licensees do even less business.
Correct.
So, they're not one and the same. You have to have a license to be a realtor, but you don't have to be a realtor if you're a licensee.
So with this great job that, and I speak facetiously, that the attorneys did for the National Association of Realtors, is there a reason that people want to be a realtor anymore?
There's a lot more to it than just, oh my God, we're part of some big organization that's taking our money. And actually, the value that an agent gets for being a realtor is, 10 times more than what you pay. This is all the advocacy work that goes on to be sure that a homeowner is able to have any sort of mortgage interest deduction. You can thank a realtor for that. The fact that, we fight for independent contractor laws so we can all do business as independent contractors.
Wait. You do business as independent contractors, but you collude with what, 1.5 million people to come up with the same exact price.
And that's the part that really drives me crazy because.
Well, no, wait a second.
Well, there's a lot of things that drive me crazy, but
I've known you a long time, Lisa.
Yeah, I know.
Way before this.
But you can tell by the look on my face, this is really getting to me. The NAR research team during, every year, in fact, this year I'm the chair of the National Association of Realtors Research Committee, where we actually decide what we're going to go out and survey, what information we're going to find. And one of the things that they did on one of their broker surveys, was find out what your typical brokerage is. Now, you hear, from the lawsuit, you got all these big names, and I'm not going to say who they are just because who knows what's going to get anybody in trouble anymore. But, you have all these big companies. So you think all of the realtors are working for all these big companies. But the average real estate brokerage in this country is one independent office with 3 agents.
Really?
So our ability to be independent contractors, and every realtor, I can't say every realtor, your team leaders, your independent realtors, we are our own business. I am personally incorporated myself. However, I am part of a brokerage. My paychecks come into my corporate account. I am your quintessential small business, one person. How they think that 1.5 million of us sat around and did price fixing?
It's just
beats
crazy.
the daylights out of me.
And that's why I say that the attorneys did such a wonderful job representing.
They found a jury that was predominantly renters that have never bought a home. And you know what? I wasn't in the courtroom. The class action attorney was smart, brought it to a federal court instead of a state court. So it's federal. We were all sitting there going, this happened in Missouri. How can this affect us? Because it was filed in a federal court. So we had a settlement reached, after the guilty verdict came in, and that, they wanted to appeal it, but you would have to post a bond of up to 3 times the amount of the amount, because of the fact it was a class action.
It was a little over $5 billion.
Just a couple of bucks. And so it was like, well, that's not feasible. And so we went to settle. And as a director, as an NAR director, I have no idea what exactly took place. They have attorneys that do this, that, and the other thing. And they claim they did the best that they could to keep us going. So the settlement makes us change the way that we're doing business, not just here in California, but across the country. And it's important to note that every state does business different. There's things that go on in North Carolina that if that was happening in California, we'd all be screaming.
Heck, there's things that are different in Northern California versus Southern California.
You get into Central California and they're really confused.
Great. We're going to continue this conversation with Lisa Dunn when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. How long will it take to sell my house? Borrow smart. We're coming up with that as well. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com. rsrmoney.com. How long will it take to sell my house? You want your house to sell fast? And you may be wondering how long the whole process is going to take. One way to get your answer, work with a local real estate agent. They have the expertise to tell you how quickly homes are selling in your area and what's impacting timelines for other sellers. That we have realistic expectations and can work together to come up with a plan that's based on today's market. I will share with you, if you want to know the exact numbers of what the time is for your market, your zip code, go to rsrlinks.com/market report. rsrlinks.com/market report. Altos Research tracks every home for sale in the United States every week. And they come up with the days on market and price reductions and things like that. And this is quite honestly where a lot of real estate agents get some great information, but they're boots on the ground. They know what's going on. Well, the good ones know what's going on in their market, right? I mean, there's a lot of them that, they're just out there putting a sign up and think that's what's going to sell like it did in 2021. Here's a high level overview of just one of the factors a great real estate agent will walk you through: the supply of homes for sale and how that impacts your process. Over the past few months, the number of homes for sale has increased. Good news when you move, because it means you'll have more options as you search for your next home, but it also means buyers have more to choose from. So if your house doesn't stand out, it may take a bit longer to sell. Available inventory is made up of new listings, homes that were just put on the market for sale, and active listings, homes that were already on the market but haven't sold yet. And if you look at data from Realtor.com, you can see a good portion of the recent growth is from active listings that are sticking around. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 FM 98.1 video feeds. I think it's 98.1. I should know, right?
I would hope you know where you're at, but
sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. The show broadcasts at 6 p.m. on ABC, Lisa. So that's martini hour. Active listings are greater than new listings. So if you look at the chart, the green bar and the blue bar were almost like overlays in 2021 and 2022. There's a bit of a spread in there right now. How it's impacting listings today: think of homes on the market like loaves of bread for sale in a bakery. When a fresh batch of bread is put out, everyone wants the newest and hottest one. But if a loaf sits there too long, it starts to get stale and fewer people want to buy it. The same goes for homes. New listings are the freshest and most sought after. But if a home isn't priced correctly, doesn't show well, or doesn't have an effective sales and marketing strategy behind it, it can sit on the market and become less appealing to buyers over time. Why do you think that so many of the partners of Ron Siegel Radio have their listings on TV immediately after listing them? Put them all there. An agent will help your house stand out and sell quickly. Time is important to you. You want to get it done. I don't know anybody that wants to have their house for sale. Right? They want it sold.
It's a horrible thing.
Right. You want to have it set up your house like a museum for the next.
And have to leave all the time?
Exactly.
All the time.
By leaning on a pro, you'll make sure your listing is fresh, doesn't stick around long enough to go stale, and as the National Association of Realtors, NAR, explains, quote, home sellers without an agent are nearly twice as likely to say they didn't accept an offer for at least 3 months. 53% of sellers who use an agent say they accepted an offer within a month of listing their home, unquote. Your agent will factor the recent inventory growth into their plan and create a customized selling strategy for your house. The supply of homes for sale can vary a lot, so they'll do things like share their valuable insights into what's happening with the supply in your market, help you price your home correctly, and create a marketing plan that gets your home noticed. Don't let your listing get stale. Reach out to a real estate agent today to make sure your listing is fresh and appeals to buyers from the start. It makes a big difference. And I know most of you don't know a great real estate agent. The guy or gal that just gave you a calendar, that does not necessarily qualify them as a great real estate agent. They may be, but it doesn't qualify them simply because they came and put a door hanger out or gave you a calendar or something along those lines. If you want your house to sell fast, give me a call at 800-306-1990. I do not sell real estate. I do not have a horse in the race, but I will tell you because I talk to a lot of real estate agents and I have access to a whole lot of data that I can put you in touch with a great real estate agent anywhere in the sound of my voice. And I'm sitting with one this morning. That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Continuing our conversation, Lisa Dunn is with us this morning. So, it's not only that I say that she's a great real estate agent. Apparently, some of her colleagues feel the same because they put her on all these boards at the California Association of Realtors and the National Association of Realtors and the International Worldwide I don't know.
Well, the nice thing is the positions I hold are very different. It's not like I'm just categorized in one spot. At a local level, I'm working on member inclusion and fair housing. State level, I'm working on common interest development issues.
You're gonna love this one, Lisa, because I had a real estate agent come into my office recently, and he made a comment, and he's I don't know the right way, so I'm just gonna say what I say. He's black.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, love the guy, and he has a client that said to him, and the client is elderly,
mm-hmm.
and she knows that her days are numbered, and she said, I want to make sure that it gets into my trust that when I pass, my house is only sold to a black person. I said, that may pose a little bit of legal
do
problems.
That on a fair housing basis. Yeah. You can't really do that. You can't specify any certain type of person.
We had to explain that because she wanted to make sure, and I can understand how, you want to help your community grow and things, but
you can't
gotta follow the law.
You just cannot do that. In fact, in every contract in California, we have a fair housing and discrimination advisory that is a 2-page document that explains who are the protected classes. And it's not just, race and religion and sexual orientation. It goes down a lot deeper. Veterans are a protected class.
I think everybody's a protected class, aren't they?
Well, technically it could boil down to that.
Except white males.
Well, I'm sure that there's a way that we can figure out that too, But, you just have to be very careful. But the form basically outlines, these are your protected classes. These are forms of discrimination. Here's best practices, blah, blah, blah. So if somebody finds themselves in that position with a client that says, well, and I've been there. This is like, I'm sorry, I don't want to sell to any black or brown people. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you don't have a choice. All money is green.
Right.
And
well, the one I laugh about now, I don't know if you guys have this on the real estate side, leading a lending team, the mortgage application
mm-hmm.
has a section on there. What is your gender? They only give you 2 options. Sorry. and what is your race? What is your ethnicity? But you got to collect all this data, and they make the loan officer, if you're doing a face-to-face application, you have to make an assumption, right? I've got to assume that Lisa's a white female, right?
Which is funny because I'm mixed race.
Right, but
you can't tell by looking at me.
Yeah, but the irony is you can't use it for anything, but you got to collect the data.
Yeah, I know, and I agree. I think that that's ridiculous, and the Fair Housing and Discrimination Advisory, a group of us, I was one of 5 people that proposed it to the executive officers at the California Association of Realtors, because we only had one line in our contract saying that we were equal opportunity housing providers, period. And it's like, I think we need a little bit more than that. So, I've done a lot of work on that, on the CID issues here on the state.
Wait, back up. CID?
Common interest development.
Okay.
All of your, shall we say, condo projects that maybe are having problems right now with balcony inspection rules and being underinsured.
How about getting insurance?
Yeah, and all of that kind of stuff. And we're doing a lot of work in that area as well. There's so much to do. I mean, so much to do. And then on a national level, I'm on the research committee. You quoted an NAR comment in your last piece. That's the people that I work with on a national level, and I do sell houses. And
you're bringing all that experience and that real-time data.
Well, you got to know what the heck's going on, because you're mentioning, your agent needs to have a marketing strategy. You need to know the days on the market. Well, because on August 17th, they're going to need to know a hell of a lot more than that.
Okay, so what's happening August 17th?
Well, remember that date I told you on March 15th when we got the settlement? There's certain terms that we have to follow as part of this lawsuit settlement. It's not a law. If somebody tells you it's a law, it's not a law. If you're a realtor, who we have to operate at a higher ethical standard than a real estate licensee. We are held to a higher standard.
We're supposed to be.
Well, we have grievance hearings and stuff. We have our own little court system, shall we say. And, so we are held to a higher standard. So,
which I kind of chuckle sometimes when I hear you say that, Lisa, because I know that one of your favorite news channels would probably be Fox News. And
don't even get me going on what Kellyanne Conway said last night at an event I was at that I heard with my own 2 ears, but continue.
So the National Association of Realtors, in all their wisdom, sells this little website, realtor.com.
Oh, that's
to Rupert Murdoch.
That's just ridiculous old news. But
something, it is old news, you're right, but I would venture to guess 90% of the real estate realtors don't know that.
Oh, no, we do. I mean, if you're engaged. Yeah, but
I bet 90% don't.
And the biggest problem is there's so many agents out there that are not engaged. They're getting their information off of some wacky YouTube thing or whatever. The sky is falling people that we're all houses are going to get foreclosed on. And it's like, no, that's not happening. But you've got to really know what's going on, because what's going to happen on August 17th, which is the day that all the little postcards for the class action suit get mailed out. And it's kind of weird that that's the day that everything changes, because the settlement is not final yet. It's just, that's the day.
Which the irony is, I wonder, just throwing this out there, because I am a conspiracy theorist, or not a conspiracy theorist, a contrarian.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't see your tinfoil hat sitting here somewhere.
I'm a contrarian.
You hit it well today.
So the judge, from what I remember, said that they're going to finalize the decision or the settlement in mid-November.
Yeah.
Will there be any effect to it if there's a change in leadership from the election?
No, zero. This is completely independent of what happens. Our problem is, well, let me backtrack a little bit, because
we're going to do the backtrack when we get back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. And I'm not going to do Your Credit Matters, but I'll give you a little bit of Borrow Smart real quick. And reach me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Borrow Smart segment today being brought to you by rsrhomeselect.com. rsrhomeselect.com. Here's the story that I'm going to give you today, because I've been using a lot of story time on this because it's something that's important if you want to create wealth through real estate. One of the best ways to create wealth through real estate is not having to spend a bunch of money and pay banks a lot of money. So here's the latest one. I told you yesterday about the new home buyers, $900,000 and $720,000 new mortgage, and having this strategy get their home paid off and get $3.8 million extra. Okay, well, here's one, a refinance, $2 million property, $820,000 mortgage, started 6.5 years ago. They've got a 3.25% mortgage. Let's take a look at this one. Minimum payment drops to $2,962.09 from $4,500. Effective APR drops to 1.898 from 3.25. Loan is paid off in 7.8 years versus otherwise it would be 23.3 years. Interest saved, $101,956. Net worth increase, assuming you could find a financial advisor that can get you an 8% return, and I can help you with that if you don't have one. Net worth increase, $1.6 million. Now, would you like to have your house paid off in 7.8 years with a lower payment? Just throw that out there for you. That's the Borrow Smart segment, brought to you by rsrhomeselect.com, rsrhomeselect.com. Continue our conversation with Lisa Dunn. We are chatting with her about August 17th, changes in what's going on in this marketplace. Go on with your thought there, Lisa.
Well, this is something that's going to be really important for the current and future home buyers and home sellers, is how business is going to be done in the country. Now, we all know when you're going to sell a home, you have an agent come over, they do a listing presentation. If you like what you hear, you sign a listing agreement with that person. You discuss what fees you wish to pay. The fees have always been and will continue to be negotiable. Regardless what you see out there, what you hear out there, the fees have always been negotiable. You don't ask, you don't get. So as a smart home seller and a smart home buyer, ask.
Sure.
Negotiate those fees. You could do it. You always have been able to do it. And that was a common misconception. Everybody thinks we all sit around and collude what fees are. You know what I mean? In many law schools, I have heard that attorneys sit around and collude on what they're going to get paid. I hear that. I cannot say that's fact, but I have heard that. So you can negotiate as a home buyer or a home seller. So you sign a contract to sell your house. Well, now what you're going to do is, if you're going to buy a house, you are going to be signing a contract with a realtor to represent you to buy a property. Everybody thinks it's really super easy to go out and buy a house. I can just go online and go find this house and say, hi, I want to buy it. It doesn't happen that way.
Sure.
You got to be sure that you have a good lender that knows what they're doing and has reviewed your credit and has done a deep dive in your credit. Just not oh yeah, sure, you look great, go buy a house.
Right.
So you get your loan denied, because you didn't tell the truth, or you didn't think
after you spent pertinent. Hundreds of dollars for your inspection,
all of your inspections, all of the inspections that you need to do. Finding insurance coverage, which in this market right now is close to impossible in many areas. making those smart decisions on, what do you do? What is the right price? How are you going to go in and negotiate? There's so much more to negotiate.
It's easy to find the house. I'll submit it is easy to find the house.
You can go find a house all you want. Number one, go try to get in it.
Right.
Because now to go see a house effective August 17th, you're going to have an agreement signed with a realtor to go see a house. And if you go to an open house, you are going to have to sign in at that open house, whether you have a realtor or not. If you don't, that agent there can ask if you want representation. It's up to you to say, yes, I do. No, I don't. If you don't, you still have to sign saying, I do not want representation. This isn't because we want to do it. This is because of the settlement structure, because of this class action suit.
Where some of the implementation processes are coming from the settlement.
Yes.
And it's going to be a lot more work for agents, and you have to have a lot more clerical at every open house.
Absolutely. And the consumers aren't going to know this. You're going to walk into an open house and say, I'm not going to sign my name. Well, if you want to get in and see the house, you're going to have to. Well, I'm just going to go to the next open house. Guess what? If you want to see this house, you're going to have to sign your name. I don't want to do that. Well, if you keep saying, I don't want to do that, guess how many houses you're going to see?
What happens if I sign in Mickey Mouse?
I don't think that's going to fly anymore.
Okay.
Technically, would you let somebody in your house that you didn't have any idea who they were?
Well, I've done it so many times. Yeah. I mean, because I've opened the house up based for a realtor.
Yeah.
And, so I've had a listing agreement with them.
But I mean, I'm just talking about you as Joe homeowner, and somebody comes knocks on your door. You get, maybe like some ID or something like that. Is that unreasonable to ask for ID?
We're not used to it though, Lisa.
We're not used to any of this.
Yeah.
And this is where the consumer is going to be greatly affected, because everything that we took for granted, it's all going to change. And really, it's not so bad, because when you think about a seller having representation, that's not a shock. It's, you contract with the person and say, I'm going to pay you X, whatever it is you negotiate. Now you're going to have to do that as a buyer. It's going to be more of a serious transaction, because now you're in a contract with somebody to professionally represent you with fiduciary duties.
So let me ask you this, because I was listening to one of the larger coaches in the country, real estate coaches, and he was basically saying, the listing agent should still be promoting a buyer's agent commission of some sort, just because it's going to help the consumer get a higher price for their property.
Absolutely. If you're sitting there saying, I don't have to pay, so I won't, you just reduce your pool of prospective buyers. And guess what? Those ones that are going to come in unrepresented, you go have some fun, because I'm going to predict in 2 to 3 years, we're going to have so many lawsuits from people. Well, I thought I was represented. And it's like, you know what? You signed a non-agency representation form. So, it's going to get ugly.
I would love to see what my greatest joy, because I am a contrarian, is if we can get to, maybe a year from now, they go and they sue these lawyers who got involved in this class action suit that really
love to be one of the people that did that.
Because they've really disrupted a whole industry. They've taken away the transparency.
The reason why we had the things that we have today, including buyer agent compensation in the multiple listing service. So, you put out there, I will pay a buyer's agent, whatever it is, to bring a buyer to this property. If we close escrow, then you get paid.
Right.
And that can be any amount you want.
I've seen it as low as some of the MLS systems and multiple listing services won't allow zero.
They will allow zero.
But
they've changed that.
Yeah.
But you could
they have been putting $1.
You could put in $1.
Right. So it's close enough. It was just a way of getting around that system.
So, we have all
and then
of
we've
that.
talked about on Ron Siegel Radio many times that I'm a big proponent of paying the buyer's agent 4%.
You know what? You can pay them whatever you want.
I want to get more people there.
Yeah, you want to get people to see your house. The more people it's exposed to, the greater the pool of buyers is, and you're going to have the competition.
We're going to have you come back and explain more of this, Lisa.
I'll talk about the consumer protection side of this.
Yeah, we need to talk about the consumer. We're going to make a note right here: consumer protection with Lisa Dunn
and DOJ. We got all kinds of fun stuff to talk about. I'll come back soon.
Good. And as always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.